Hey guys, I just wanted to come on here and share my story. As you can tell by my title, I'm going to be talking about the time when I was 15 and pregnant, and how it all unfolded, my relationship, how I told my parents and whatnot. So let's start from the beginning. So I was 15 years old and I had a boyfriend at the time, and we used to hang out all the time. I was like so in love with him, and we pretty much would do everything together and wanted to spend every single hour, minute, second of the day together. So on one of the occasions, we ended up ditching school. I ended up going to his house and we ended up doing things, you know, that we probably shouldn't have, but it happened. Anywho, so we just, you know, continued to do things, and I ended up getting pregnant. The way that I found out was I lived with foster parents, and my foster parents, they knew that I was sexually active, and I mean, they weren't happy, but at this point they really couldn't do much about it. So I mean, instead of being like a super close-minded, you know what, like you're never gonna do it type of parent, they wanted me to take care of myself, and they wanted me to be aware of like the possibilities. And obviously I'm a child, so I still didn't listen. That's how I ended up getting pregnant. So my foster mom ended up taking me to the clinic, and she dropped me off so that I can get birth control. When I went to go get birth control, they ended up doing like, you know, the pap smear and like a test or whatever, and they ended up testing my urine for to see if I was pregnant, and I was. And obviously they test for like UTI and stuff like that too. But so I ended up being pregnant, and I remember like not wanting to tell my foster mom because I really didn't know how she was going to react. I ended up telling my boyfriend that same day, and I called him and I told him, I was like, hey, like I just came from the clinic and they told me that I'm pregnant, so I don't know what we're gonna do. Like I was scared to tell my foster mom because I don't know if you guys are familiar with like child services or anything like that, but your foster parents are not like a permanent residence or home. They can call your social worker and they can request for you to be placed out. So pretty much calling your social worker and be like, hey, I don't want her to live here anymore and whatnot. So I was scared that that was going to happen, honestly. And when I was talking to him, you know, I was telling him about it, and he was so happy. Like he was so happy that we were having a baby. Like it was like you just told this guy that he won the lottery, and he was ecstatic, which was the complete opposite from my reaction. I was really scared. And I remember just thinking like, what am I gonna do? Like I'm 15 years old, I'm a sophomore in high school. Am I even gonna finish high school? Am I even going to, like, how am I gonna pay for this? Like who's gonna, like, are you gonna get a job? Are you gonna, like what's gonna happen? Like I was just getting so much anxiety just thinking about the whole situation. So anyways, a month later, my foster parents asked, like, no, my foster mom asks me like, hey, I'm gonna go to the store, do you need tampons or pads, whatever? And I said no, and she was pretty much like confused, and then that's when she was like, you're pregnant, huh? And I was like, oh my god, yes, like I'm pregnant. I was crying, like I was so scared, like I didn't know what she was going to say. And you know, she reassured me that you know, that she was gonna be there, that she wasn't gonna throw me out, and she definitely wasn't gonna call my social worker to come and take me, you know. So that pretty much gave me like some reassurance. So my boyfriend at the time ended up telling his parents, and you know, they also gave us their spiel on how, you know, we were careless and how we should have taken care of ourselves better. And at this point it's like too late for that speech, but whatever, it was done. And I mean, they gave us their blessing at the end, and you know, like what else are they gonna do? Like if this is what we're gonna go through, then they have the choice to either be there or not, and they chose to be there. So so yeah, so I still was going to school. I was going to regular high school, and I was so tiny, like skinny, like so thin. So my belly wasn't really showing as quick as, you know, like, I don't know, somebody else. But I wasn't, you know, I wasn't showing that much when I was in high school. So when I was in summer, and like when summer was going, so school was out, that's when I started to show, which nobody saw obviously because I wasn't in school. So when I went back my junior year, nobody knew that I had had a baby. Like, no one even believed me. But during the time, like summer, which was like my hardest months because my due date was September, so I ended up getting like complications with my pregnancy that I had to be on a diet because I was showing signs of preeclampsia. If you don't know what that is, just Google it, and you can read all about it. But so my doctor put me on a diet and stuff. So my parents really were like really big on me exercising and eating healthy and making sure that I like was the healthiest I could be for my baby. So I wasn't really being able to see my boyfriend at the time enough, or he wasn't really that much involved. And he, you know, like things started getting difficult between us because he didn't see this as like, oh shoot, like I need to get a job, like I need to be there for her. He pretty much just like wanted to be with his friends. He wanted to go out. I mean, what teenager doesn't? He wanted to continue to live his normal life. And here I am at my house, pregnant, going through pregnancy complications, and still trying to be a teenager myself. So we my whole pregnancy we had problems. I mean, I was always crying and, you know, trying to keep it together as the best of the ability that I could, because my mom would always tell me like, if you cry, like it's gonna affect your baby and whatnot. And anyways, the day that I found out that I was like going to the hospital, I called him. It was like 10 at night, and I was like, oh my gosh, like my mom's driving me to the hospital right now because I'm getting a lot of contractions and they're like super close to each other. So I end up going and to the hospital, and he ends up coming. His mom ends up being there. His mom and him were the only ones in the room, in the delivery room. And he pretty much was there the whole time. I ended up having a 4th degree delivery. So what that means is that they had to use extra tools and extra ways to remove the baby, since I did have a natural birth. And so I ended up pretty much getting like a seizure, and so I couldn't hold my baby and stuff. So I ended up having to stay 1 extra day at the hospital, and he ended up going back to school. And then later on I found out that he had was like cheating on me or like talking to other girls. I mean, I'm 15, so what's I don't know how to call it. I mean, like now my age, I wouldn't call it cheating. I would just be like, oh, you were being very dumb, you know, type of thing. But anyway, so I end up finding that out after, obviously, I leave and I start talking to my friends again. And I mean, it was very hurtful. So I found out that he was like doing things with other girls. Like this girl accused him of him giving her a hickey and stuff like that. So, and I had just had my baby, so I was like so broken and devastated. So we ended up separating. I think it was the best decision for the both of us. I think I took that initiative. I didn't want to raise my baby in an environment like that. And the one thing that really stuck with me was someone had mentioned to me, if you're happy, you give off that energy to whoever is around you. And if your child sees that you're very unhappy, like that's the energy and the environment that you're gonna raise that baby in, and that's not healthy. So that was my mentality. Like I wanted to have a very healthy and like a happy home. That was my main goal, was to be happy. I mean, whose goal isn't that? So I guess pretty much we ended up going our separate ways, and our son is now 9 years old, and teen pregnancy is super real, and it's not as high as it used to be. But pretty much I'm making these videos to let girls out there know that you're not alone. You're not gonna be the first nor the last girl that gets pregnant at a young age. My advice to you would be to use your resources, use the information that's publicly out there. Now that the internet is more, you have more access to it, there's so much help, so many hotlines, so many groups that you can talk to, you know, and teen pregnancy, you can prevent it. You just need to be educated. And if you are pregnant, you know, then it's not the end of the world. You're gonna get through it. It's not an easy task. I mean, it's not easy being a kid and raising a kid type of thing, but it's not impossible. And I think my biggest advice would be to take every single day at a time and allow yourself to grow. Allow yourself to love your child, to always know that there is a future. Like, write it down. What is your goal, and continue, you know, that path, whether that be finishing high school, whether that be getting a job, whether that be getting a car so that you can have transportation for you and your child. There's just so much stuff that you don't think about when you're a teen parent. You don't think about these things because you're a child yourself. So I just want to let you guys know that you're not alone. You're not alone, and it's not the end of the world, honestly. And I am now 25 years old. I have my son, my 9-year-old, and I also have a 1-year-old baby. And I can tell you right now that I could not believe that what I did at 25 years old when I had my baby and what I did at 15 are even the same. Like, I can't even comprehend, you know, sometimes how mentally and emotionally I went through that when I was 15 years old, because I literally was a baby, like, at 25. Like, I literally was like being so overly dramatic, overly protective, and I know that it's not easy, but I think that it's not the end of the world, and there's people out there that are going through this exact same thing that you're going through, and there you might feel lost and confused, and there's other people out there that feel the same way. So we need to get together and support each other and be there for one another in any possible way or form. So yeah, guys, that is my story on how I found out I was pregnant when I was 15 years old. Like I said, I was a freshman in high school, so this was a long time ago. This was 9 years ago. I still cannot believe it's been that long. But yeah, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave anything in the comments. I would appreciate if you guys hit like, thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe to see more videos that I'm gonna be posting soon, then subscribe. Thank you, guys.